Hello everybody, today I'm going to be going over why these MGC big cubes are considered to be the best. So starting off with the smallest of the bunch, the 4x4, most 4x4s have pretty fast outer layers, but the inner layers are kind of slow and sluggish, or the magnets are too strong. But on the MGC 4x4, the outside layers are very crisp and fast, and it's basically like turning a 3x3, and the inner layers are surprisingly smooth. The magnet strength is strong, but it's not overly strong where you can feel like too much of a strong, but you kind of need to power through it. Here, it's just enough magnet strength to keep the cube stable when you're solving, and you're able to turn it very fast on the inner layers with it still being stable. And same thing on the outer layers. Like 3x3 stage will go extremely quickly with this cube. And the slice moves for PLL parity are just amazing. It's very fast. Moving on to the 5x5, it is kind of similar to the 4x4, where the outer layers are very fast. But the thing is, on these, unlike the 4x4, which I'm going to bring back in for a second, here it's kind of loud, it's crunchy, and it's very, kind of a crisp turning experience. On the 5x5, at least the way that I set it up, it's still kind of crispy, but it's a very smooth turning now instead of that crunchy feeling. And as you can probably tell, it's a lot quieter too. And outer layers are, again, very, very fast. And the inner layers are kind of the same as the 4x4. On the 4x4, you're able to turn them very fast, and it was kind of like the outer layers, very crunchy. Here, on the 5x5, you're able to turn them very fast, but it's just like the outer layers here. And I'm actually going to get into this catching problem in a little bit. But the inner layers, they're very smooth again. But the thing is that it's kind of loose, I guess, or not loose. It's just a little bit unstable because it's a very flexible cube. Like the corner cutting, line to line there is easy. It can sometimes do line to line here, not really though. Most of the time it goes like half a cube there. And then reverse is decent, it's not amazing. And then same with the inner layers, not great. Reverse. Then regular corner cutting is pretty good, but this is a catch that I get a lot, just because the cube is kind of unstable. Whenever you do a regular corner cut here, line to line, it normally happens because this piece comes down in this layer, and that's whenever it starts to catch. So you just want to be a little bit more cautious on your turns because this is a pretty annoying problem to fix during solves. But as long as you're a semi-accurate turner, it shouldn't be that big of a problem, and you should still be able to turn pretty fast. But yeah, as you can probably hear, it's a very, very smooth feeling, and that's probably why it's everybody's main right now, just because it's so effortless to turn, and your hands don't get tired like on other big cubes, just because it's so effortless. And I've done hundreds of solves on this, and I basically never get tired of it. Now we're going to move on to the 6x6. It's kind of the same story, but there's a big weight difference between the 4, 5 up to the 6 and 7. Like here, I'm not sure the exact specs, but the weight difference is tremendous. So your arms might get tired holding it if you hold it kind of far away from you, but it's kind of the same story as the other two, except this is an even number cube, and I'm finding a little bit of similarity between the even numbers and the odd numbers, because the even number cubes are more crunchy, kind of like this one, as you can probably hear, more than the 5x5 at least, which is, ooh, wow, I almost dropped my cube. Let's ignore that for a second. But as you can hear, the 5x5 is not as crunchy as a 6x6, which is a little bit more loud in my opinion. It's not a bad thing. It still feels really good, and it's still super fast on the outer layers. The inner layers are basically like turning kind of a slow 3x3 on these inner two layers, and it kind of has the same catching problem as the 5x5, but obviously you don't want to be corner cutting big amounts on a 6x6, so that's to be expected. And the innermost layers are kind of where the speed kind of slows down a little bit. It's still pretty fast, but you can tell just because the magnet strength on the innermost layers is a lot stronger. You need to put a little bit more effort, and here's where your fingers can start to become tired, but yeah, it still just has that classic MGC big cube feeling, where it's very, very fast and crisp. And finally, the 7x7. So this is the cube that I use the least out of all of them, but that's mainly because I have really tiny hands compared to this, so it's kind of hard for me to hold on to all the layers in the back. But it's the same story as the 5x5, I guess, but with a little bit more of worse corner cutting, just because you obviously don't want to be cutting corner cutting that much on a big cube, as I said before. But the outer layers, if you can hear that, it's a lot smoother than the 6x6. It can be the way I set it up, but I basically set all these cubes up the same way, so it should be the same story. And I'm trying to just show you this magnet strength here, which I find to be not that much of a problem. If you have bigger hands, it won't be a problem at all, but if you have smaller hands, you might want to listen up, because here, like doing M moves, I'm just trying to demonstrate that these outer magnets here in between these two pieces is not as strong as they could be, because sometimes I can't really grip my fingers all the way back there, and then occasionally this layer will turn. It's not that big of a problem, you know, it's an easy fix. I can either reach over or just be more cautious when churning, you know, possibly even put my pinky on the bottom there to block it. But yeah, it won't be a problem for you if you have big hands, but if you have small hands, that may bother you a little bit, and you may want to go for one of the smaller 7x7s. So that's really it about the outer layers. Moving on to the inner layers. These are kind of like the 5x5, and now when you're turning the inner layers, your fingers can comfortably hold on to the back there, but of course it still has a catching problem. But you can turn these second-most inner layers fairly fast. Not as fast as you can on the 5x5, obviously, or the 6x6. And then these innermost layers, in my opinion, are faster than the innermost layers on the 6x6, probably because there's more friction on the inside, because there are more internal pieces. And here, the only pieces that you see are the only ones that are in the puzzle. So these innermost layers are way faster than the 7x7s. And I feel like solving the 7x7 might take less effort, finger-wise, I guess, than solving the 6x6, mainly because of this reason. And you may enjoy solving the 7x7 a little bit more, but normally, like, I honestly just like odd number cubes more than even number cubes, just because these even number cubes, I feel the 6x6 takes more effort than the 7x7, and the 4x4 takes more effort than the 5x5. Even though these are both very dry and quick cubes, the 5x5 and 7x7 are just unmatched, honestly. And these are all my big cube mains, obviously, which is why I'm doing this review on them. But yeah, they are all amazing cubes with amazing prices, honestly. I'm not sure of the exact numbers, but I'm going to include links to all of them in the description. But I believe this is about $19 maybe, or $20. This is about $22, and then these two are a little bit more. I think it's either $24 and $29 maybe, but they're all amazing prices compared to the other competitors. Like the Volk 5, I think is $50, which is like double the MGC 5, and on all the other 4x4s are probably like $40, I think, if I had to guess. But yeah, these are just outmatched quality-wise and price-wise. So if you get these, you really get your bang for your buck. And please like this video and consider subscribing if you enjoyed this. So yeah, see you later, guys. Thank you for watching.